I'm Erin, and welcome to An Emo Girl's Guide to the Galaxy, where we debate, rant, and curse too much. If you like books, sarcasm, and hate the patriarchy, then you've come to the right place.
Hey, I'm Jess, and what's on the agenda this week? Book hoarding. We're here to help. We're going to talk about what we do with our piles, our merch collections, and all the places that you can donate any books that you no longer want in your home.
I'm Loretta, and I'm here for your bookish news updates for this week. So let's dive into this. On March 1st, Hook, Line, and Sinker is coming out by Tessa Bailey. It's a romance, and it's the second in the Bellinger Sisters series. I do not know this, but I've always wanted to read Tessa Bailey, so
yes,
that's awesome.
The first one was like that Summer Catch book that was going around last year.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was a series. Okay. Also on March 1st is Lock the Doors by Vincent Ralph. It's a YA thriller about terrible secrets people find behind locked doors. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I'm reading an arc of this one right now, and so far it's pretty creepy. Like, the main dude moves into a house, and then he finds out the house belonged to, like, some girl he went to school with, and so now he's convinced that, like, her parents locked her up in her room because he finds holes on his door. Ooh. I'm not that far in, but I'm like, okay, this is intense.
Dang.
Coming out March 8th is And They Lived by Stephen Salvatore. And it says, from the author of Can't Take That Away comes a sex-positive, fairy tale-inspired YA novel that celebrates first love and self-acceptance, perfect for fans of What If It's Us. And that's from Barnes & Noble, which I love all those things.
Yeah.
So
sex positive is a trigger word for me. Heck yeah.
Like, fairy tale inspired.
You had me at sex positive. Yeah. Also on March 8th is Great or Nothing by Joy, I'm going to say this wrong, McCullough. And Caroline Tongue Richmond, Tess Sharp, Jessica Spotswood. A reimagining of Little Women set in 1942 when the United States is suddenly embroiled in the Second World War. This story, told from each March sister's point of view, is one of grief, love, and self-discovery. Yes?
Yeah, like how timely, since that movie came out, like, what, a year or two ago. So
I know. I loved that movie.
I've never read the book, but I watched the movie with my sisters, and I was crying the entire time.
I didn't watch the movie because I read the book. And I was like, we don't need that pain in our life.
I haven't read the book either, but I've seen every iteration of the movie.
I've done none of that. I've seen none. I've read none. I don't need to cry, so because the little bit I know is from that Friends episode, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's a freezer book. That's all enough to know.
It goes in the freezer. It's enough for me.
Yeah, don't give me anything about sisters and love and hate, and no, it's not going to end well for me.
No.
It hits too close to home. Like, no, I would never do this to my sisters.
Same.
Okay, so I'm Devin. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm going to kick things off for our team updates around the room. I'll just get started because I have so much to say because I finished House of Sky and Breath. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but, like, I'm also just dead. So if anybody out there wants to talk to me about it, Jess and I have been going back and forth, and we have so many questions and so many things to share.
Dev is actually coming to us from beyond the grave right now. She's a ghost.
I can't even, like, explain my reaction after reading the last page because I feel like even that is a spoiler. Like, I just want everyone to know that they need to read it and then come talk to me about it.
I feel like my whole reaction was, this isn't happening. No way, that's not happening. Oh my gosh, this is really, okay, we're doing this. We are doing this.
I can't.
Now I need a cork board and strings.
If you're out there, find me on Instagram, Read by Dev. I need more people to talk to about this.
She really does.
And then once we're all done, we're all going to talk about it eventually. I'm forcing you guys to talk about it on the podcast because there's a lot.
I have to start a support group.
I have no words. Like, I literally closed the book and stared out into space. I finished at like 11:30 at night one night. I had work the next morning, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. And then I woke up thinking about it, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to work. And I've been thinking about it ever since.
Okay, well then I feel like I need to jump in and say I'm at 93% right now. Guys, I stayed up until 1 in the morning and I had to stop because I knew we were doing this today. And I was like, I just wanted to be done in time for this episode, but it just didn't happen. So
It was just us.
later today,
Okay.
I'm going to be in the same place.
We will have an entire episode dedicated to this. And then also just Sarah J. Maas and everybody can come and write with us. Also, in other news, to get away from Sarah J. Maas, I got an arc of Wild as a Witch by Rachel Griffin, and it was signed and personalized, and it's so pretty, and I'm like,
It looks so
this
good.
is so cute. It is an enemies to lovers story, and apparently a witch, the main character, hates this boy, so she decides to curse him, but then the curse gets stolen by a bird, and if the bird dies, then the curse
I hate when that happens.
Then the curse like destroys the world or something. So her and said hated boy that was going to be cursed have to like go on a journey to find said bird. And I'm really excited to read it.
God, yeah, it's the worst when birds just be stealing your curses.
Can't I curse someone without a bird stealing it once?
But I'm deceased.
Yeah. This is just going to be a thing. Like, I'm going to explain stories really poorly.
No, you're doing a great job explaining.
No, that sounded amazing, though. Like, I'm all over it. I joke, but I want to read it.
Yeah.
Well, I heard The Nature of Witches was really good, and a lot of people recommended that to me, and I just didn't get around to it in October like I said I was going to, because, shocker, I didn't. But, yeah, I would.
Every October, I'm like, I'm going to read all my spooky books, and I line them up, and then I don't read anything.
Same. I take pictures of them for Instagram.
I did get through Mexican Gothic, which was amazing.
I did read a witch book, and now I can't remember what
and then
it was.
the XX, which we won't get into again, because
Except spooky season for me is just every month, because I will just willingly pick up like a Stephen King book and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna read about aliens or ghosts or whatever.
Poor Deb, every October I'm like, give me a Stephen King book. I'm going to do it this month. And then I don't.
I do have that on my shelf and I haven't read it yet, so maybe we can all do that together since it's so thick.
I was never into horror. Or scary, and over the last couple of years, I'm like, no, I need a good spook, and thrillers aren't quite getting there all the time. So I actually like them way more. I think my childhood, I just was like, I hate scary movies, I hate scary books, and never read them. And now I'm like, oh, I actually do.
See, that's weird. That's opposite of, I think, people who like horror books and movies, is that you get into it way too young. Like, every fan of Stephen King that I know, and I need somebody to corroborate this for me, is like, you open your first Stephen King book way too young, and then you start reading it, and you're like, should I be reading this? Like, what's going on? And then you realize that, yeah, in fact, you really did start reading Stephen King way too young.
I would buy into that theory, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
Okay, who else has updates? What's going on with everyone?
It's my turn, and I have nothing to give you guys because I'm in the process of moving, and I haven't read shit this week. But I can say that I ended up getting the same special editions of
The Mortal Instruments.
Thank you. Oh my god, I was thinking like TMI, but what does TMI stand for? The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare, and they're very beautiful, and I'm so excited. I think we're going to start a reread of them. So,
yes, we were talking about doing a Shadowhunter
annotated.
episode. Yeah, Cassie annotated every book, so we have special notes on every single book in the series that we can share. We have insider information.
That's fancy.
That's so cool.
That.
Yeah.
That's perfect for you.
That's all I got, really.
Okay, my updates are, yes, I finished Out of Sky and Breath, but we did that. So I also finished reading Morning Star, which I'm not going to get into the next two in the series until the sixth book comes out, because I'm good where I'm at. And
You had a hard journey.
cried at a time where I was like, wait, this is not happening. And, you know, like, so much action, so much, like, the right amount of romance, which I like is way lower than what I normally would like, but it was just perfect for the way that it was done. So yeah, I really enjoyed that series. Excellent if you want a very low romance, high action, sci-fi, space. I don't know if it's sci-fi or fantasy. It's like space opera-y.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would say sci-fi.
If I say that, I'm afraid some little white nerd boy is gonna come be like, "Oh my gosh, it's not real sci-fi because X, Y, Z," and start like explaining.
They're not allowed here anyway. Unless they hate the patriarchy, they're not listening to us.
That's a good clip for our reel, so that people can come yell at me. Okay, and then also, so today when we're done here, my sister and my friend Ashley are going to come over, and we are going to watch the finale episode of Love is Blind, and I have a betting sheet on it and some drinks.
I'm so jealous. I want a
side.
picture of this.
So we're gonna make a drinking game to the finale episode for like tears and interruptions and who runs out on who, and yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. It's gonna be lots of fun. I will send snaps. It'll be entertaining.
Please do. I'm very excited to hear about it.
I know it shocks you that the Libra loves trashy Love is Blind shows and like Love Island and stuff. Shocker, everybody. But yeah, I live for those shows.
I'm a Sagittarius and I do too. I don't know if that checks out, but
I don't want anything that I have to really pay attention
it
to. I
does.
want trashy dating
my
shows.
rising is Libra though, so
Yeah, there you go. You know what was like, this is totally off topic and this will be my last thing, but that MTV one with the golden tickets and stuff, ugh, that was my favorite. You guys might be.
Yes.
I don't know if you know though.
No, I had to think
This
about
is
that.
like going
but yeah.
back to when I was like 6 years old watching MTV and should not have been watching MTV.
What was that one where like what was the one where they went into someone's house and then they had to
Room
decide if
Raiders.
they Room Raiders.
Oh. Also
Oh my
next,
God.
okay, so next was my favorite. That they
Next
would
was,
get off of the bus
excellent.
because that's just 100%
Yeah.
my brand.
Yeah.
And then they would pause and they're like, "Hey, I'm Brody."
And then there were like facts would be next to them.
Yeah.
He loves to surf and eat hot dogs.
Or the parental control one. Did anybody watch that one?
I did. I
Parental
watched that
control.
one.
Yes.
And they're like, "We hate our son's girlfriend," and then they would go and pick like 3 other girls.
Yes.
But it was so scripted. The parents would be like, "Yeah, we want to get rid of her. We don't like
And then the
her."
girl is like,
"Yeah,
you guys suck.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
would. We love each other and we have sex. And they'd be like,
That's why we want you out of here. I love it.
Well,
Okay.
Oh my god."
I'm going to give my updates now. I already said I am mostly done with House of Breath and Sky, and it's just completely been taking over my life. So that's a thing. And then Avril Lavigne just put out a new album
Yes.
on February 25th.
It's so good.
Just been listening to that on repeat. I feel like that's pretty, on the nose for our podcast. She's bringing
Yes.
back the emo pop
It's
punk
so
vibes
good.
for all of us. Yeah, it's a super fun album. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, since I can't focus on anything else except for Sarah J. Maas, I've been going into my playlist, and so it was needed. Like, where can I put some Avril on my playlist?
All over.
Yeah.
Sprinkle it in.
Okay, so I guess we're ready for our main topic now that we've gone off on like 18 tangents already. So today we're going to talk about our thoughts on too many books and sorting the stacks, which is like when you find yourself deciding to reorganize all of your books and you look around and you're just like sitting in the middle of like towers and towers of books, which I do on a
You should
regular
see
basis.
my room right now.
Oh,
This
yeah,
happened
'cause
to me
you're moving.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Just
it's terrible.
reorganizing. It's fun. So
Yeah. I looked up a bunch of psychology about this stuff, guys, too. So I
Yes.
can like
I'm so
save that
excited.
to the end and just throw it at you. Or I'm probably gonna sprinkle it in based
I
on what
think
you guys
that's
are saying
perfect.
about
I think
this.
let's just
I love
like
it.
let's start with the hoarding situation and we'll move on to like merch and stuff as it comes, I guess. Cause like I just redid my living room. My lovely husband made me these bookcases behind me, and I have another one on the other side, so now I have 2. And I was very specifically told, if it doesn't fit, it's gotta go. Like, this is it. I'm done building you more bookshelves. You're at your limit. And like, it's understandable because before I had my son, not we, he didn't do anything there. Well, like, let's be real. Before I had my son, in the spare bedroom upstairs that is now his room, we had this big dresser, and I would stuff books in the drawers of the guest room dresser. And when we went to move it out, I had to like go secretly move all of them. And my husband was like, "Where did all of these come from?" No idea, dude. I have
You're like, "I don't
absolutely
know."
no clue. So I had to do like a big donation at that time because I had secretly been hoarding books in the dresser upstairs. So
That's
how do y'all
relatable.
I mean, that's my problem.
That's
That's my hoarding issue. Now we don't have a guest bedroom dresser anymore, so there's nowhere to put them. So I have to like actually purge. So I've done a lot of purging and donating lately.
okay.
I have been doing that too. I used to be really bad about like, cause I start stuff and then I don't follow through. So I used to be really bad about like buying whole series at a time and then like not reading all of it. And then I had all these books I hadn't read. And then, I just buy books that I think look good anyway. So I just had all these books I wasn't reading. And then money was tighter last year. So I ended up going through and I was like, what am I doing? And I like got rid of a bunch of stuff. And I haven't been buying as much this year, so I'm kind of proud of myself. But I've transferred it into ebooks because I'm like, this isn't any physical space. It doesn't count, right? So I just like buy all the ebooks. I don't know.
I convinced myself that doesn't count either. I'm like, no, if you can't
Yeah.
see them on the walls, that they're not hidden in drawers.
It's only
Yeah.
$2.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's on sale.
It's so cheap.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
BookBub is a problem for that because I get the emails. I'm like, I would never really buy this book, but if it's $2 and BookBub says I would like it,
I'm
then
obsessed with
obviously I would
BookBub.
like it.
It's like a contact sport for me. I
Loretta
put
is the one who
everything
got
in
me
there.
onto that too. Like I didn't know about BookBub until Loretta, and now I just like open the emails. I'm like, oh,
I regret
this
nothing.
is free.
I love
This
BookBub.
is free.
You guys, I've heard you talk about BookBub, but I haven't explored it yet, and so now I feel like I should close my ears.
When I add anything to my TBR, I add it to BookBub too automatically. So I have this huge list, and now they just email me like, "Oh, you wanted this book?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did."
So they send emails about digital sales. So if any any author that you follow on there or like a specific book is on there, if it goes on sale on any digital format, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc., it will send you an email that's like, this is on sale. And it sends you weekly or daily. It's up to you kind of deal. So
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be signing up for that today. So.
yeah, it's a problem for digital hoarders. So yeah,
Which I am.
it's fun though. It's a cool resource
Yeah,
if
it
you're
is
looking
fun.
for like discounts on books, which is always what we're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, but going back into the ebook situation, and I know that a lot of us like to support the indie bookstores when we can, and keeping bookstores alive. But if you do want free ebooks and you want to beat the system, Amazon has a top 100 free list, which I didn't find out about until I started looking through the BookBub emails and I was doing some digging. And so now whenever I have time, I go to the top 100 free list and I just scroll through to see what ebooks I can download. And you can keep going. Like, you can go into a dark hole of free Amazon Kindle books because it'll show you based off of your search history and what you're looking at. Like, oh, you might like this. So then I just go and I'm like, this is free. This sounds good. I wouldn't read this otherwise. Like, I'm just going to go and download a bunch of free books. So I have so many like romance, shifter, whatever, paranormal romance books on my Kindle now. And I'm like, when am I going to read these eventually?
It just feels
But-
comforting to know that they're there, like, for you if you need them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also use all my Amazon digital credits. Like, if you have a Prime membership and you pick a slower service, sometimes it'll give you like $1
Yes.
digital credit every now and then. So then when I have a bunch, I'll go back and I'll buy ebooks of something that's like super popular or that I want. So I've been saving up to buy War of Two Queens so I have it before my hardback gets here.
I did
Nice.
that yesterday. I got I was ordering stuff for my son's about to turn 2, so I was ordering like dinosaur plates and stuff. And I'm looking at there and I was like, oh, I could wait till Wednesday, and then I could get $2 in digital credit. Maybe I'll get another book. So I've
Yep.
been doing that on your advice, and it works really well actually. So
It's like my favorite hack.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I don't even know if it's a hack. Like, I don't know if it, but if you don't know that it exists and you want digital credits for stuff, do it. You can also use it for music and other stuff on there, not just ebooks, but I use them for books.
We know who we are.
We know. Weirdo.
Also, to get into the indie bookstore support system, so we get that out there and you're not just buying books from Amazon. If you're in the LA area, I really like the Ripped Bodice in Culver City. So I used to work out there, and this is where I've heard of it. Because I was like, what bookstores are around this area? And they're a woman-owned bookstore, and they specialize in romance series. So if you walk in and you want a romance book, like, that's your store. The most famous one out here, I think, is the Last Bookstore, and you can go in and they have really cool, like, book murals. Oh, I took Loretta there.
It was so cool.
We've been there. There's also, I believe it's called the Hidden Bookstore, which is like a sister store of the Last Bookstore, and it's like a garden, and you walk through, and it's greenery everywhere. If you're in Pasadena, there's Romans. That's a really popular one out here. And if you're trying to save money, there's also Half Off Books. You can also sell your used books to them, and then they'll go and turn around and sell them for a discounted price to somebody who might be looking for that specific set. But it's a way to recycle and also save some money or get money back if you're a bookseller.
You just threw so much knowledge at us.
I'm like sitting here going, whoa, because we have a very different issue here. It's not that we don't have indie bookstores in Houston. We definitely do. I really like Blue Willow Bookshop and Brazos down, but those are both like in the city. So as far as like the suburb areas of Houston, like, I don't know, guys. I don't really leave the loop, and that's gonna sound. It's frustrating to like drive far in big cities. So like, I don't know. I mean, Dev gets it.
I feel that.
You get it too. So it's just is not always like a doable thing, especially in Houston, where you have to like go dig around for lots and stuff. So I really like those two. I don't know a whole bunch about the others. I know that our Half Price bookstore was torn down. The one that was like closer and inside the city was like totally demolished recently. So that was a very sad day. And the other, like the closest one, is a ways away. So honestly, it's rough in Houston. I love it, but if anybody knows of more bookstores, that would be amazing, because I struggle with it a lot. They're just hard to get to.
Let us know. I'm sure there's more.
Well, I'm sure there's more, and I've looked them up, but they're all outside of the city, and I just, like, honestly, I don't leave the city, and I don't want to drive 30 miles. Like, it's just, It's hard.
We have, I'm currently in Atlanta, and I'm in the process of moving to Denver, but here in Atlanta, I mean, it's not here, but there's a place called McKay's Books in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's like a few hour drive from here. I think it's 3 hours. But sometimes it's like the Mecca. Like, you can go there and sell your books, and they have a shit ton of used books, and it's just like endless and endless stacks. And they also have like music and albums and games and like used game consoles. Like, you can sell anything at this place.
Oh my gosh.
And so sometimes we would like plan a day where we would like get up and go drive a few hours, and then we'd like go and spend the day there, and it was like the best. I love it.
Can someone go and see if they have any Game Boy Advance games? I've been looking for my old.
They have a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, I've been looking. We have this place called Frankenson here, which is just like a big building with sellers of like sports gear and nerd stuff, and they have like different stalls, and it's like a swap meet but for nerd stuff. And it gets so crowded because they're only open like twice a week, I think, or maybe once, and I rarely ever go. But I've been looking for Game Boy Advance games for the longest time because I was a terrible child and didn't save any of my stuff, and I'm missing all my Zelda games. I'm missing all my Super Mario games. Like, do I need them? No, but I want them.
I think you
do. So if anybody has any Game Boy Advance games, please let me know.
We've heard already from Loretta and Jess that they've like sold books or had to get rid of books, but I have a very hard time doing that. I have not really let go of many books. So I was going to ask you, Deb, like, do you unhoard books ever?
I don't. What I usually do is I try to pawn them off on my like little family members, and I'm like, hey, this is a young kid's book, you read it, here you go, get the next generation reading. Or as you can see, like, I just stack them up everywhere. But my issue is I collect editions of the books that I really love. So I have like 6 different versions of City of Bones sitting on my shelf. Why? I don't know, but I do. Like, I am like, oh, there's a special collector's edition of this book I really love. I gotta get it.
Must have.
Yes, and I also have issues with mismatching my book series.
Oh
So
my
if
God,
I
yeah.
buy, and I'm like, I'm terrible because I'll buy the paperback of a book if I'm not sure about it, which is what I did with The Court of Thorns and Roses. So I bought the paperback of the first one because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And then I fell in love with Sarah J. Maas. And I'm like, I can't have a paperback set. It's going to get ruined. I need a hardcover set. So then I went back and bought the first book in a hardcover set, in a hardcover, and then got the rest of the series in a hardcover set. And now I have paperback, hardcover, and then I have the new covers because I'm like, there's new covers. Now my series is not going to match. I need all of the books in the new covers. So now I have like 3 different versions of A Court of Thorns and Roses sitting in my library for no reason. And that's my problem, is I buy multiple editions of the same thing.
I do not have that problem because I feel like I would, like when I got my new Court of Thorns and Roses set, I gave my old set to one of my good friends who didn't have it, and I was like, here you go.
Yeah.
You like these. You've read them. She borrowed them all from me to read them. So I was like, well, here, you can keep them. So I
Yeah.
like to like pass them along. Actually, she probably really loves me because I've given her a lot of books, and she's like, "You're the reason that my shelves are this big. You just keep unhauling on me." And I was like, "But you might
Sorry,
read
not
them,
sorry.
and it's better than like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's better than throwing them away or trying to
Yeah.
you'll read them."
My old set, I kept my old set because I told myself eventually I could get the Juniper Books covers. So I'm like, oh, I already have a second set. I can save money and just buy the covers and not the covers with the books.
Yes.
So, again, I know I have a problem, but
It's a collecting thing.
I will not be stopping anytime soon. So I'm sorry. I apologize in advance.
Well, I looked up a lot of the psychology behind this if you're curious.
Yeah.
Yes, please
Yeah.
tell us.
So I looked at several articles and I can pull them up and explain who they are. So if anyone wants to go back and read it, but there was like a bunch of stuff that came up. Like most of the stuff I was reading was about collecting in general, but I think we can clearly say that like the book collecting we do like falls under actual collecting. And one of the articles I read was talking about the difference between like a consumer reader and then a collector reader. And a consumer reader is someone who's like doesn't really care about damage to the book, reads it. It's just a vessel for getting the information, gives it away, does whatever, throws it, rips it, writes
We're
it.
like,
That makes my heart hurt.
Yes. And then there's us. I would say the majority of the time we are the collectors because we don't want to crack the spine and we want to keep the covers good and the book sleeves intact and they're beautiful and we want to set them up and we want to collect all the editions. And I do not like to loan my books out. I do not trust a single soul to touch them.
I'm the same way.
I'm getting that way.
So that's like more firmly in the like collector side of things. And I think it's interesting because like collecting books is a little bit different than like say we were like collecting figurines or something because they just like sit there, right? Like a book, there's another layer to it because we're actually like reading them. Dev is a little bit in the further category because she is reading them, but then she also has like 6 of the same book. So we know in your special editions you're not reading those. That's not the one you're picking up, but. Yeah, there's a lot to it. So like the collecting, like there's a social motivation. So like I think we can all attest to that. Like having books, collecting books, talking about books has like brought us together, right? And then bringing social media into that is huge. Like with the Bookstagram, right? All of that. And something I was reading too was about I think someone who might have been involved in Bookstagram or book somewhere on the internet with books about how like it really kind of changed like the way. Like, I think more people are becoming collectors because it was, like, in your head, like, if you're a reader and I need people to know I'm a reader, I must then be a collector. Especially if you're, like, taking pictures of them, like, you have to have them, right?
That was absolutely a thing for me. Like, when Tegan and I originally started, like, our Bookstagram, which I'm obviously terrible about keeping up, is I was so stressed out over it because I was ordering tons and tons of books that I didn't even know if I was really going to read or not read because we needed the pictures. And that's kind of a stressful thing in its own. But that's also adding to that collection is like kind of a social pressure. You're right.
Yeah, well, especially I feel like you're online and everyone's like talking about a new release or they have to have this or a special edition. It starts to make you feel like, oh my God, like I need it too. Like I need to add to my collection. And then it's like that social clout of being like, look, I got it, right?
Yeah.
But also, there's like with collecting, and this is with all collections, but like there's more. What I was reading about the psychology of it is like a lot of it is about like the thrill of the anticipation, right? Like you order the book, you're waiting for it to arrive, you're checking for it, like oh my gosh, then you get it, and you like da 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 da, and then like then you need the next thrill of buying the next cool thing.
Yeah, and then it's over.
Yeah, yeah. And then I read something and it was about how like collectors do really like to like the arranging and rearranging and displaying of them is like a big thing. And I was like, oh my God, that's like on the nose for all of us with our books. And like
Yeah.
just reorganizing
Yeah.
her shelf.
Yes.
I mean like I do that too.
I got my copy of Torch Against, what is it?
Torch Against
Second
the Night.
book in, yes,
Torch
Torch
Against the
Against the Night, because they didn't have the hardcover in the new cover art until
so
recently.
jealous.
And I just got my book in, and it doesn't fit on my shelf because of what's on there. And so yesterday I was having a crisis because I don't know where to put everything, and I haven't figured it out yet.
Because she
So,
doesn't
yes,
unhaul.
I can understand. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Like, I have to show it off. It has to have like a pretty spot on my shelf, so when people see my collection, they're like, "Oh, it looks so nice." And I'm like, "Thank you. It took me a lot of time."
Yeah, so that's one of the things is like other people like it's like that social clout of like to look at my collection,
Yeah.
like wanting that admiration for like what you've done. And then another piece that I read was really interesting was that collecting can give you like a sense of like you're doing something, like an achievement, like look what I've done, like where maybe in other parts of our lives like we're maybe not feeling like we're doing stuff, but we're collecting, like we have that. And I was like, okay, attacked, a little bit attacked.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue though into like the merchandise and stuff, because I know Dev shelves especially, like it's not just books. The way that they're arranged, she has her mug, she has her artwork, she has like all of her different little like book merch like items, her pins and everything. And I don't do near as much, so I'm gonna shove that along to you. But yeah, that's a good segue into like it's not just
I will
books.
say, yes, I will caveat that because I am on Bookstagram, a lot or most of the items that I have been gifted to me or I have received through some type of partnership. So there is that. I do realize that it can get really expensive. But my rule of thumb is if I don't know what it is beforehand, I won't buy it, which is why I don't get into book boxes as much as I do individual like bookish sites or bookish shops, because for book boxes specifically, I feel like the way they reel you in is by showing you the super cute stylized special edition of the book, and they're saying, yeah, I'm gonna give this to you for like X amount of dollars, and you're also gonna get 3 to 5 extra special items, but they won't tell you what those items are. And then you get the box and you're like, I can't use any of these things. What am I going to do with it? And so they just sit there. So I prefer to buy one-off things when I do buy them. Like I'll buy a sweater or I'll buy a shirt or I'll buy a mug, but I will only buy special edition books from a book box if one, I know what all of the items are and I can use or appreciate most of them, or they have the book only option, because I like to know what where my money is going versus like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. I did get one, like I think I've only gotten like one surprise book box, and that was when Kingdom of Ash came out, because I was like, I have to get at least something fun for this. And I did get my Fire Breathing Bitch Queen mug out of it, which I mean, come on, we love it.
Win.
But I'm also like super picky about my candles now that me and Loretta have gone down our witchy ways, that like I can't handle like just a random candle that's gonna be like they slapped a sticker of somebody's face on it and said, oh, this is this. It's just not my vibe. I mean, I love candles obviously, but it's just not gonna be what I want all the time. So I think that just there's a lot of extra stuff in there that I'm obviously not going to use, and I'd rather just buy the book and keep the book. And I really want all of the pretty ones, but I have not been as distracted by special editions as you guys have as much. Because I just, like, part of my brain is, and I can't spend extra money on something that I already have unless it's an ebook, which my brain rationalizes as a more portable version of it.
It doesn't count.
So it doesn't count. But if I get a special edition, I will then give the others away or donate it or get rid of it or do something, like, obviously not just throw it away, but like donate it or resell it or something.
Which is weird because my brain is like, I have this special edition, so now I can't do anything with it because it's special and I don't want to mess it up. Like, I'm like, I'll open it and, like, maybe read it once just to see what all of the cool stuff is in there. I'm like, okay, but if I touch it again, like, it's going to break, like, it's going to fall apart. I don't want to break the spine. I don't want to whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm always like, I have to have the normal versions.
Yeah, and it's
just in case.
Because my rereads are mostly on my Kindle, so I'm fine with doing that because once I've read the physical book, I'm good. I will put it on my shelf. I want to look at it, but I'd rather look at a pretty version of it. But I also am not going to go, like, spend a ton of money on special editions when I already have something, because something in my brain is like, just don't do it. Like, you can spend that money on other things, and I don't know.
I'm somewhere in the middle when it comes to special editions. Like, I got the special editions of the Mortal Instruments, but I really love that series. Like, I only get special editions of series I really love. I have the special editions of From Blood and Ash.
Yeah, and I'm salty that I didn't buy those.
I, like, got the special Throne of Glass. I got that collector's edition when it came out immediately. But I would rather get signed ones than special edition items. So if it's a special edition with a signature, for sure. But I'd rather spend, like, and find a signed copy than a pretty copy.
I don't think I've ever got a special edition. I'm, like, thinking now, and, like, I can't think of any that I've done that. Like, at least not one that, like, I already owned, if I have one. But I don't think I have any special edition. They're all just special.
I will say, too, for anybody who has stuff that they're trying to get rid of, like hoarding, and they want to sell all of their merch from a box, I have heard a lot of Bookstagram people using Mercari. Like, they just set up an account and they sell all of their stuff through that, or just through their Instagram stories. So those are my tips and tricks for trying to ease out of any hoarding situations you might have.
Speaking about that, let's talk about some places to donate locally and stuff so that we can like tell you how we get rid of our stuff.
Wait, and before that, I want to say I did look up about the hoarding thing. I know we all joke and say it's hoarding, but clinically it's not, unless you really don't have control. So we like to call it hoarding, but it really is just collecting, which can be a spectrum of, like, how extreme your collecting gets, right? But it's not hoarding unless you really seriously do not have control over it yourself.
There you go.
Yes. Thank you, Erin, for letting us know what we do is okay.
I know, that makes me feel better. I really wanted to say, too, when it comes to book boxes, I really just wanted to put it out there that I just really want to be able to buy the special edition of the book, and I don't need the stuff.
Yes.
Why is that not a bigger thing?
Yes, anybody who's out there who's listening who works for the book boxes, please just give us a special edition
Sometimes
book.
I just want to buy the book.
Yes, and that's why I don't have some of my special editions, because the first book comes in a box and I'm like, I don't want a box. I just want the book.
I hate to be this girl, but capitalism means they're probably making money off of the tchotchkes and not off of the special edition.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's like all of those like infomercial things where they're like, we'll give it to you for the low price of 2 things of this, but then we're going to give you 18 sets of tongs for $40 of shipping and handling. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But social media plays into that too, like needing to buy the book boxes and needing to collect. Like, your book collection then goes from, like, I'm collecting books to I'm collecting all these things associated with them.
And to make an unboxing
I'm not into
video.
that either.
Like, just to do an unboxing video, they'll buy boxes because they get views. Which, like, fair. That's your game.
That's true. That's true for the content.
I didn't think
of
that.
Well, and the other thing is, like, so you guys were saying that you collect, like, special editions primarily of like books that are like your favorite. Like this is the fandom I'm like super into. So that was like another psychology piece that I read, was that like collecting a lot of something, or like multiple editions, or like things all associated with it, it's another way of being like, no, I really am a fan. Like this is how I can show the world or other people that like I am a fan. Because if I didn't have any of this stuff, then it's like I'm not a true fan almost. Like you have to use this as your way to show the world.
Did you read, and if you don't know, that's fine, but I'm asking because I'm genuinely curious if there's anything out there about the community aspect of it, like you do it because you want to feel like you're a part of like a bigger thing, you know, like you want to feel connected to all of these people who also have the same hobbies as you, or the same interests.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that social motivation piece, right? And that can present as different things, but I feel like that's what is so important for us. Like we have like a little community, and we have our friendship like around all of that stuff. It makes you feel connected to other people, definitely. Yeah. And even if you were like collecting weird figurines, if other people were super into those weird figurines, like you probably want to find those people. Right? So exactly.
Finals.
Sorry, I just got like flashbacks to all those little precious moments.
Yes.
Ceramics.
Literally, my mom has a bunch, and I was like, and like other random dolls, and like they're not like full collections, but she feels like she can't let go of them. I'm like, Mom, you don't have to collect these little dolls. She was like, I really don't. I was like, just get rid of them.
If you don't like them,
Be okay.
Stop doing that. It was like such a thing for like previous generations, collecting weird, creepy dolls.
Oh my god.
So talking about donations and places we can donate, we all know that like most used bookstores, you can take books and they will give you credit, at least like store credit, for a lot of your items. And like I love nothing better than a used bookstore that is like you might or might not make it out alive, where it's towering over you. And like I don't know if you guys have been in these, but back home we had a used bookstore, and it was terrifying. It was in this little old house, and the books were piled up, and these bookshelves were not safe. They were leaning. It was a fight for your life every time you went in there. You were like, I may or may not die from books in this situation. But it's like my favorite memory ever of just like used bookstores, and they would give you all this credit for like going in, and you would basically just be swapping books all the time. So that was just a fun experience. But as a way to like donate books, you can just like get credit and get new books and just like swap them out like a library kind of, which also a lot of public libraries will do donations. I know that the Houston Public Library does gently used books, and then they take those books and donate them to charities around town and for students and kids to take home for their personal libraries as well. So
yeah, I think it's the same in LA too. Like you can donate to your libraries. Also, when I was researching, I realized that you can donate to children's hospitals, but they prefer new books because of obviously like used books are dirty and not as clean, and cleanliness issues. But if you do want to donate children's books, and you can send new items there. We also have this thing called Rebook It, which I didn't know about, so this is interesting for me. It is through the Last Bookstore, and you can literally pack up all of the books you want to donate and schedule a pickup, and they'll come to your house and pick up the books. And they support local libraries, hospitals, and schools. So you'll know that all of the books that you donate through them are going to a good home, and they try to keep books out of landfills. And so when you're thinking about what to do with your used books that you don't want, try to not put them in the trash, so they are being recycled or reused or going to a good home.
I also just want to like talk about really quickly before there's like all the book bans happening across the country, and as a person in Texas, my rage is at the end of its rope right now. But there are a lot of charities, and even but some school districts, some charities, libraries for sure, are taking donations for any books that are, well, any books at all, but also books specifically that are on the banned lists, and they are giving them to students to take home for their home libraries. So it's a way of getting students access to all of these books that they otherwise would not be getting access to. So they're sending them home with them because we have to take them out of our libraries right now. And it's just like a really dire, awful situation where teachers and librarians are quitting their jobs because they're afraid they're going to get sued for or arrested for trafficking child porn, according to my idiotic governor. So
Oh my God.
I won't keep
Yeah.
going because I could talk for days on it.
Depressing.
I'm so upset.
Yeah.
But anything that
I
you
feel
can
like we
do,
all could.
I know
Yeah.
even my work, the place that I work was taking donations for the month of February as a, like, they were like, it's for MLK Day. But they're donating all of these books to send home with kids for their private libraries specifically. So
I
there
love
are corporations and businesses who are trying to fight it in whatever way we
Yes.
can.
Fight
Because
it.
there's
Love
you
it.
can't fight it other than
Gotta
voting.
rebel.
So go vote.
Yeah.
Get these assholes out of here. Let our
No,
kids
and
read.
you know what? And yeah, encouraging people, like, kids have access to the internet and other things, and like people telling them that they need to read these books. Like, if you have
Yes.
children in your lives, like, encourage them to read, give them books.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're not in areas that they're, you know, going through a horrible book ban, but like in general, we just need to be encouraging our youth to continue like
Yes.
having access to all of this. But
I would also recommend anybody who isn't in the know about what's on the list to go actually research what's on that list, because I feel like when you hear book ban, you don't automatically think of what we would deem as like more innocent
You
stories.
mean you don't think of the
but
Red Scrolls of Magic?
exactly,
That was on there.
that was
Oh my
that was
God.
exactly what my point was. It's like, go look at that list, because some of the books on that list
Very
I
enlightening.
would
awful.
say a lot of people
It's
wouldn't deem
terrible.
those as inappropriate for children to be reading, and it's very insightful and eye-opening.
Right.
So I would recommend doing that.
And
Yeah.
these bans aren't just taking place in let's pull books with sexual content out of elementary schools. Like, they're pulling them out of high schools. They're pulling
Yeah.
books on sex education and how to go to the gynecologist for the first time out of high schools. So it's more severe than you think it is. I mean, it's like, I'm gonna stop because I will.
that's a whole other episode
I
where
won't
we
stop.
just rage
Is the
against
problem, and I know
machine.
that we're getting long today, but
Yeah.
that's my whole thing on
Okay.
donating.
All right, well, let me share a couple of places in Charlotte, where you guys can donate stuff. So our libraries used to take donations. I don't know if they're just doing a temporary pause, but I was on their site, and they were saying to find other organizations to take stuff. So I don't know what's the deal with that, but that's the case right now. But we do have a place called Julia's Cafe and Books. I have never been there. I have wanted to, but it is attached to our one of our local Habitat for Humanity restores. And I guess she's like, the person that's named after Julia was like pioneering and like setting up Habitat for Humanity in our state, or at least our city. But it's a used bookstore. It's a cafe. It's super cute. They have a ton of stuff, I think, besides just books. So that's a really good one. Then we also have Promising Pages, which is just for children. So again, when we're talking about getting books into kids' hands, they want it for birth all the way up to high school. And they have book drops all over the city of Charlotte. So you can go on their website and there's probably one near you if you're in the area. And then I have a local used bookstore. I've never really been a used book person. Like, I never really was into that. And in my adult life, I've been kind of trying to do that more, supporting local businesses. So we have one that's like right down the road from me, or it was, called Book Buyers in Charlotte, if you know that. But they had to close because gentrification and all the things. But they just reopened their new location at the Eastway Crossing. And they have a cat book dragon. There's like a cat that like lives in the store, or is mostly in the store when they're there. So cool, so on brand, I feel like. So it's a very beloved place, and I'm excited that they didn't have to close forever and they have a new location. So if you're in Charlotte, definitely check them out. Oh, I think I just really quick wanted to say, those couple articles that I was looking at on the like psychology, there was like one specifically I wanted to like give credit to, I think. Yeah, so there was one about like someone I think who was like in the book world. Her article's in Bustle about like focusing less on collecting and more on reading, and this is by Carrie Jarema. I'm gonna mess that up. And then this one in Psychology Today called "Collecting: An Urge That's Hard to Resist," and that's by a Shirley M. Mueller, who is I think she's like works in neurology and psychiatry. She's a doctor. So those were the big ones, and then I feel like there was like maybe one other, but we can definitely provide those links to people. But I just wanted to give a little bit of credit.
Yes, we will provide all of our sources in our notes for everybody so that they can go and read. And Jess, maybe we can also put in the banned book list for people so they can go and look at that.
The banned book list that I have is the 850 that were proposed in Texas. So we will have to look for like I'm sure that there's a location where there's a bunch of them for like all of your states and areas to look at.
All right, well, then I'm going to jump into our game today. We are playing Skip It or Ship It. So we have a randomizer, and we're going to be pulling 2 names and deciding if they would be a good couple or not.
I'm
So
excited.
I am too. I was practicing to make sure I knew how to use the randomizer, and I am really excited for this first one. So our first Skip It or Ship It, and keep in mind they're fictional characters. So pretend in the fantasy world that they are of age, of similar age. There's nothing crazy or gross or icky going on here, okay? Fake people. So, do we skip it or ship it with Katie from the Luck series and Castile from Blood and Ash? from Blood and Ash.
Skip. Hard
Yeah,
skip.
skip that for sure. That does not match at all for me.
I do kind of want to see them in a room together, but no.
I think that she would just
when-
like roll her eyes and walk out and be like, you are not broody enough. You are just so much energy.
Yeah.
But also maybe they would just be besties too. They might just sit around
I-
and watch
Maybe they
TV.
could kick
I
it
picture
together.
him like giving her like a noogie or,
Or like,
something.
yeah, or he
Yeah.
would just come over and be like, ooh, what you writing about on your blog? Let me get on there. Ooh, look at my face. Everybody likes
No, she would be
me.
wanting to take pictures of him like for her blog. Like,
Yeah, he'd just
this
be
is,
like shirtless
Oh,
holding
yeah.
things awkwardly. And then he'd be
Yeah.
like licking it,
Yeah.
flicking to lick the book or something stupid.
so
When these
would.
names popped up, the first thing I thought was, well, there's no Luck series anymore because she's not going to be able to do anything stupid because he's going to be like, why would you
Yeah,
do
he
that?
would prevent all of her stupidity.
I just figured he would
Yes.
just like pick her up and throw her over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes and be like, stop it.
Yeah.
Let's go do something more exciting. He's just so, I
Exciting.
don't know. I have a really vivid picture of him just like fake licking a book spine now, and I don't know why.
Yeah, you have that like really.
You did that to
I
yourself.
did. Why is that in my head? Why is that the stuff that I think of?
I don't know.
All right, so we're skipping Katie and Cass. They'd be besties, but they're not good for each other.
Not in that way.
Okay, so our next pairing is Inej from Six of Crows and Hannah Donnelly from Illuminate.
Shipping.
I say ship
I'm
it
shipping
too.
that. Those two would
I
take
haven't
over
read
the world.
Six of Crows, but from what I know, that sounds like the best couple ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same with Loretta. I don't know enough to like, give my heart and soul into it, but I feel like they're like both badasses, right? Like that sounds right.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
both baddies. They like just ruin the patriarchy. They'd be like, "You
Yeah.
I'm here
men,
for it.
Hannah fucking
no,
Donnelly.
like we're taking
Yes.
over."
AndNej
Hannah
is
fucking
like
Donnelly.
a complete and utter ninja. She just like sneaks and can like walk
I
high
thought so.
wires.
That's like a
and she's
ninja
just
name.
like so incredibly.
I'm basing this off of the show.
I didn't even see the show, so I have like literally just whatever I've seen on the
so
interweb.
She's like a
memes.
spy master kind
Yeah.
of. She's kind of like Kaz's spy master situation, and she
I said that. I ship
would
it. I
just
ship
tear
it.
you
I
to
ship it.
pieces.
Yeah.
And then Hannah fucking Donnelly is.
We
I mean,
know.
I have.
Yeah.
I would say it's a girl
She was
crush,
trained.
but I think it's just a straight up like it's a real crush. I
It's a real
am
crush.
so in love with
Yeah.
Hannah Donnelly. I read that book and was like,
We are shipping Inej and Hannah
Yes.
Donnelly because they are both baddies and they would take over the world, and I bow down to them.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, this next one is good too.
Oh god.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Okay, Jace from Shadowhunters and Kenji from Shatter Me. I'm gonna say
I'm
ship
shipping
it.
that.
I'm shipping it.
I love that. Why do I love that so much?
So much chaotic energy.
I
in
love
there.
that so much.
Yes, they'd
The
be
ego
so chaotic
in
together
that.
and like try to
The
one up each
banter.
other, but then they'd be like, "No, bro, you're the best," and then they'd go back and forth, and they'd be like, "No, bro, you're the best," and then they'll be like, "We're the best."
They would be
The vanity in all of that relationship.
insufferable to everyone else. But
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
This is such a good couple.
love
Oh my
that.
I
gosh,
want to
I
see
need somebody.
a double date of Jace and Kenji,
Kenji.
and then Inej and Hannah. Like, I want that double
Yeah,
date.
that would be good. That was
Yeah.
Can someone out there write some fan
Yes.
fiction
I
need
for
a
me?
fan
Some
fic.
fan
I don't
art,
know,
please.
Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We need the fan art also of Castiel licking the book and then giving Katie a noogie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
We
any
need it all.
artist, we need some fan art and some
Yes,
fan
I
fic
need
here.
him wearing a shirt with her blog name on
Yes.
it, and then like
It has to be a
book in
crop,
front.
though.
I was gonna say like the
Yeah.
sides
Of course.
have to be cut out at least.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the armholes.
Oh,
Such Boruto.
this randomizer, you guys, it's gold today. It's
Oh
gold.
god.
I'm so
Okay?
excited.
I'm so ready
Okay,
for
yes,
this next
give it
one.
This
to
is
us.
the last
All right.
one, so I'm glad it's...
Okay, all right, the last one is a good one. Kaz from Six of Crows, and drumroll, Bella from Twilight.
Bella doesn't go with anybody. I don't even have to know Six of Crows to know.
I want to ship it because I want him to tear her
You have
apart.
stolen my breath. He would not. He would just fly
No.
swat her with the back of his hand
Yeah,
and murder
I'm
her ass.
skipping it. I'm skipping it.
I ship
That-
it just because I know he'd kill her. Quickly.
Yeah, I'm shipping it
Ineffectively.
because he would destroy her.
She would be
Florida's
like,
here for the-
I just want to
the
hold
fallout.
your hand. And he'd be like, bitch, you get off. Wow.
I know what you are.
Say it. Oh my god.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, bitch, I know what you are too.
He's like, I'm not hiding it.
But, like, can we get some fan art of Bella coming up and being like, I know what you are, and then Cass just, like, throwing his cane, just, like, randomly
cane?
smacking her over his shoulder? Like,
Oh my
she's
God,
behind
you
him, and he
guys
just
watch
smacks
Hey
her in the
Arnold?
face.
Yeah, the
This is a
breather
comic.
kid that always
Oh,
The
been
no.
breather
just-
kid, and she would punch him. That's what it would be.
I love it.
Yeah.
I get it.
That was
we
a
need
fun
to do
game,
this game
guys.
again.
That was
We need to
fun.
do this game again.
Yeah,
This
that
sounds
was
No,
good.
good.
this
Yeah, I like
game,
that
this
one a
game
lot.
is a keeper for sure.
All right. Well, there's our skip it or ship it for today. Let us know if you agree with all of our thoughts.
On that note, I think it's time to end this show today. So, next week, we're going to be talking about sexacombs. And I'm not even going to explain what that means. You just have to watch.
Yes.
Or, I mean, you just have to come and listen and learn what the hell that word is.
Sexacombs.
And it's going to be really fun and crazy. But
It's gonna be a good episode.
It
You'll
is.
want to listen in.
you want to tune in, especially the romance fans.
Yeah.
All right.
They'll want to be there. We are on all of the things now, even more than we were before. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on,
TikTok.
I can't even
Anywhere
remember.
podcast
Instagram.
Spotify.
Anywhere podcasts,
Yes.
literally anywhere podcasts.
Instagram,
Stream us
Twitter,
everywhere.
Facebook.
Rant.
Yes.
And we're also on all the socials.
Yes.
At Emo Girls
At Emo
Guide.
Emo
Girls
Girls
Guide.
Guide. So come and find us and hang out. And may your day be blessed with main character energy.
Main character
Good character energy.
Woo!
Okay.
Yay.
Gosh, Kaz.